Fitzy and Whipper with Kate Ritchie podcast.
Tell you what, I'm loving Dickie's diary at the moment. We spoke to Richard Wilkins about his interview with Prince and how it was a bit of a disaster, but then turned around and he had an hour chat with one of the greatest artists of all time.
Extraordinary.
Some of these interviews that he's finding, and obviously we need to speak to Dickie about Tina Turner today as well, and he joins us now. Welcome, Richard.
Hey, Dickie.
Yeah, morning team, morning.
Made a busy morning for you this morning with the passing of Tina Turner. Did you get to meet her, Dickie, no doubt?
I did. I had the pleasure of interviewing her several times over the years, and when she performed at the grand final in Sydney in 1993, I had the honour of walking out on stage and saying, "Ladies and gentlemen, Tina Turner."
Awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, in fact, Ken Arthurson and John Quayle and the late Brian Walsh said to me, "Mate, as soon as she's finished, can you get out there and just ask her a couple of questions? And because we want to get some more vision of her, and just keep her out there for a couple of minutes, if you don't mind." I said, "You need to check with the manager, Roger Davies, about that." And I said, yeah, no worries. Talking to Roger. Anyway, I did that, and they said, "Great stuff. We got all the vision we want. It was terrific, Dickie. Well done." And I said, "Did you check with Roger about that? She wasn't, that friendly out there, I didn't think." And they said, "Yeah, we asked him. He said no."
Was she great behind the scenes, Dickie? What was she like?
She was lovely, so professional, such a true artist. She was no bull. She'd come through tough times, obviously, in those early days. The domestic violence was something she grew up with. Mum disappeared, her dad ran off. She grew up with a big family. She really did pick cotton down the south there in Brownsville, Tennessee, and Nutbush and all that, and then came through, found fame with her abusive husband, Ike, who renamed her Tina because, of course, she was born Anna Mae Bullock. But, so she found fame, and then it all went sour. She ran off in the middle of the night with 30 cents in her pocket and pleaded for a motel room for the night. And then started to rebuild her life and career, and it was really the comeback for the ages. In her 40s, when Australian Roger Davies, the above-mentioned, started managing her and found her a song called "What's Love Got to Do with It," and put together the Private Dancer album, and, hence her close relationship with Australia, not only the Rugby League, but the Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome.
Love that.
Who was here many times. So what a great girl.
Why did she end up living where she did? Was it Switzerland?
In Zurich.
Yeah,
Switzerland. She met a bloke called Erwin Bach, who she's still married to. He's about 30 years younger than her from memory. He was a young German record company guy in the early days when she was putting it all back together, and he persisted and eventually won her charms, and they got married, and I don't think she's ever been happier. He famously gave her one of his kidneys a few years back when she needed a transplant.
Yeah, right.
And they lived at Lake Zurich, pretty fancy pad, I believe, it's in Switzerland. She renounced her American citizenship as she had to become a Swiss citizen, and that's where she lived in recent times, battling illness, and presumably that's where she passed away.
What a fascinating life.
We know that you're busy this morning. Have we got a bit of time to talk to you about Madonna, or do you have to get going, Dickie? What are you doing?
I'm doing a fair bit of stuff today, boys.
Yeah, I know.
How long you got?
Well, okay. I just want to talk, because we spoke about Prince and how prickly that interview was with Prince. But then you sat down with Madonna. This is Dickie's diaries. Now, you can go find this each week on 9 Honey. It's unbelievable. But when you start an interview with Madonna, and it sounds like this, Dickie, I think you're in a bit of trouble.
Do you feel the pressure?
Be specific. The pressure of what?
So she's not into it, Dickie. Can you tell everyone things started going a bit sideways when you realised that there was a bottle of tequila in front of you?
Well, Madonna, I've interviewed Madonna many times, and I think I'd get on all right with her, but she treats an interview as sort of sport. And that was in New York. I'd arrived in New York City, got off the plane. I was going to see Fleetwood Mac that night too. We digress. But anyway, it was at some big art gallery up on somewhere in New York. And back in the days before Zoom and the pandemic, you used to jump on a plane and go and talk to people.
Yeah, I remember those days,
Good days too. Anyway, but she treats it as sport, and she did, I think, 4 interviews for the world, probably me and American, Tom and somebody else, I don't know. And anyway, she had a bottle of tequila there, and she said, "All right, if you ask a really good question, I'll have a drink. And if you ask a really stupid question, then you have a drink. I'm like, all right, fair enough.
Who's the judge?
So I asked her a few questions, and she's having a bit of fun. Something, and she swore or something. I said, "Come on, you need to have a drink now." And she said, "No, I make up the rules. Don't argue with me." And then I said something, with this album, you're changing things around. And she said, "Oh, here we go. The reinvention question. Drink up."
Drink up. Here is the audio. This is where she hates that question. Dickie asked it, and this was her reaction.
Oh, come on.
Reinvention question of
The reinvention question.
I always answer the same way. I'm not calculating anything.
Lucky it wasn't a bottle of gin.
How did you have a few, Dickie? I mean, do you know what? There was a smile on her face, though. You guys had a good bond by the looks of it.
Yeah, she's great. I've spoken to her many times. She's just feisty. She's Madonna. What do you want?
Yeah, that's
right. Yeah.
Dickie, we know you're busy. I mean, I've got a couple of questions about Cyndi Lauper, if we could.
Okay, look, I got to go. See you later, boys.
Good on you, Dickie. Thanks for your time, mate. Unbelievable.
Bye.
Dickie's diaries. There'd be a fair bit of horrific stuff in there as well, Dickie, that we could not play on air.
See you, mate. Has he already left?
We love you, Dickie.
What about El McPherson?
Fitzy and Whipper with Kate Ritchie is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcast.com.au.